Travis is like a lot of people. He likes doing business with a handshake in his word, not looking to sue anyone. But when the insurance company was playing hardball and refusing to even pay his medical bills, he called 303-LAW-4040 and said, Dan, I hate to bug you, but they just aren't being fair. We took over the case, told the insurance company we would see them at trial, and they immediately more than quadrupled their offer, which was just fine in Travis's book. The insurance companies don't play fair. They aren't going to do the right thing out of the goodness of their hearts, so you don't ever have to feel guilty when calling 303-LAW-4040. If you've been injured, we'll make them pay what's fair. And as always, you always talk directly with me or my lovely wife, Kimberly. So save that number in your phone. You never know when you're going to need it. It's 303-LAW-4040. That's 303-LAW-4040.
Hey guys, boy Steve here today about my long-term buddy Troy Hansford. And if you're thinking about selling your house for any reason, now might be the time to sell, still get top dollar. Believe it or not, my guy Troy is still offering his $5,000 guarantee. What is it, you ask? Well, if he can't sell your house at your price on your timeline that you agree upon beforehand, bam, going to cut you a check for $5,000. Who else makes the offer? Nobody I've ever heard of. And he makes that offer because he continues to spend a ton of money marketing his listings, has about 100 families approved and ready to buy right now. And if for any reason you need to sell right away, Troy can buy your house, all cash, and he can close in as little as 7 days. You have a house to sell, Troy probably has that perfect buyer for you right now, waiting for you to pick up the phone and to call him. Call Troy, get your home sold for the most money. That's 720-900-4433, 720-900-4433. Troy Hansford of RE/MAX Professionals, a Colorado licensed broker. Some restrictions do apply. Want to sell your house? Then call my buddy Troy, 720-900-4433.
Hi, I'm Terrell Davis, two-time world champion and Pro Football Hall of Famer. There is nothing more important than your health. That's why I made the smart move to invest in fitness equipment with Fitness Gallery. It's a game changer. I have a true treadmill at home. It's the smoothest and quietest I've ever been on.
Football is here, and Fitness Gallery's fall football sale is your playbook for a winning home gym. Save up to 50% off on select premium equipment. Visit any of our 7 stores from Denver to Fort Collins and score big before the sale ends.
Snow is coming, and Silterhar Motors is ready, stocked up on a boatload of Broncos sports built for adventure in rain, sleet, or snow. Only at Silterhar Motors, buy a 2025 Broncos sport for only $25,999 or lease for only $299 per month. Silterhar has the top selection with over 1,000 new and used vehicles available to choose from 5 different brands, all at one location. See their complete inventory of new and used vehicles at sthmotors.com. Silterhar Motors. Get everything you want out of a dealership.
Need a plumber? Euro Plumbing has the lowest prices in town. Rock bottom prices on whole house repipes, sewer line repairs, even water heaters. 720-500-3000.
KKFN and KKFN HD1 Longmont, Denver. You're listening to Denver Sports 104.3 The Fan. Welcome to Denver Sports Tonight, taking a look at the biggest stories in Denver sports from your online home for the best opinions and information on the Broncos, Nuggets, Avalanche, Rockies, and more. DenverSports.com.
It is Denver Sports Tonight on this Thursday night in the Mile High City. He's Marcello Romano. I'm Will Peterson. We will roll with you for the next hour as the Broncos and Giants looms closer Sunday afternoon in Power Field at Mile High. Kicks off a stretch, 7 of 11 games at home for Denver. 4-2. I think we'll all take it through 6 games. Got to run this thing to 5-2. Yes, the Giants have had a couple of nice wins with the switch to Jackson Dart. Both those were at MetLife Stadium. They had a egg lane in New Orleans in between. Broncos hoping to do the same. Cello, what up, man? How you feeling as kickoff gets closer and closer, my friend?
Good. I got a question for you. You bring up these 2 teams. What do you think of when you say the Giants? Is it this modern team? Is it this Jackson Dart-led Scadaboo team? Is it Russ is on the bench and you wish to see him? Or does it take you back to Phil Simms? Beating the Broncos in that Super Bowl appearance.
Somewhere
or do
in
you think
between.
of Eli?
Eli, yep. I think of Eli Manning, Payton's brother, particularly because the 2 Super Bowls that he won were just ridiculous. It's so much fun.
I asked that question because these teams aren't that far off, I guess, in the annals of history. The Giants have 3 Super Bowl championships, if I'm correct.
I know they have 2 with Eli. You tell me. Well, they beat the
Broncos. And then they beat
so
the Broncos,
3,
right?
Yeah.
And then they lost to the Ravens. It takes you back to like Lawrence Taylor and that team, that all the off the field issues, as good as that guy was, issues with Booger Sugar and all the other crap that Lawrence Taylor dealt with. But I'm just trying to think. It's like the Broncos have been to a number of Super Bowls. They have 3 championships, right? They got the back-to-back. They got the 2015, which they'll be honoring on Sunday, which I think is kind of cool. But I think it's really kind of cool that it's these two teams that you wouldn't think have a history, but for some reason, maybe it's because I have family from New York or what. I don't know what it is. But they're not. They're kind of somewhat similar. They're not similar right now. I mean, obviously, you brought it up. They got to push this thing to 5-2. You're the better team. You're welcoming in a rookie quarterback and a young team into your place, and you have the number 1 defense in the league. Go to work.
Yeah, but you're right. There are parallels between the two franchises for sure. Ones that I hadn't really considered, but man, the Giants have just been bad ever since Eli Manning retired. And I know the Broncos were bad for a decade once Peyton Manning retired. Maybe not a decade, but 7-8 years.
But they were a playoff team, was it 3 years ago with Daniel Jones?
Yeah, they went into Minnesota, I want to say,
yes.
and won a game. Let Saquon walk. That was obviously an embarrassing moment that we all saw on Hard Knocks.
Yeah.
I don't know. To me, I lump the Giants and Jets together as just like ultra pathetic, and I guess the Jets are more ultra pathetic than the Giants are.
I guess when we look back at it, you're looking at this season, the schedule, and you're like, oh, those are two very winnable games, or those are easy dubs. I think we're probably all fair in saying that. Go back to the Jets, though. This is the second straight year, Will. It's been like herding cats on a football field. It was painful to watch. 2 games between those two franchises, and the final score between the two games combined was 23-20.
10-9 and 13-11.
Yes.
Yeah. No, not real pretty. I did see a tweet that next time Broncos and Jets play, it should get relegated to the National Geographic Channel, which I got a kick out of. And also remember the Jets beat they beat Sean Payton for Nathaniel Hackett's revenge.
Oh, yes.
So that's 3 years in a row the two teams have played, actually. And I think Russ had the fumble where the Jets scoop and scored at the very end in that game. But you're right, the Broncos did escape the Jets. It's the Giants up next this weekend. You mentioned honoring Super Bowl 50. Let's start there. Just real quick. I mean, first of all, the headline, and obviously the headline, and it's an incredible one, is Demaryius Thomas going into the Ring of Fame. I saw Patrick Smythe had a tweet today, 40-plus teammates from the Super Bowl 50 team will be here. That's an awesome number, obviously. DT meant a ton to all those guys, passed way, way, way too soon. Other alumni will be in the house as well. We've had a lot of really good celebrations for the Broncos. This one may be the tops of all of them. Smythe said it will be the most alumni ever at one Broncos game.
If you have tickets for this particular weekend, I know the opponent's probably not, the best. Is like, I think a lot of people want to see either the Packers or the Cowboys, but to be there for this weekend to honor that team and to honor DT and another guy that passed way too young, Ronnie Hillman, was a part of that team. So, yeah, man. And DT, like, just our experiences back in the day when this team was at its height. That dude, I mean, there's 2 of them that I could mention are probably like great human beings from that team. Ones that you had like interactions. One was DeMarcus Ware, and Demaryius Thomas was another one. And I'm not saying there's other guys that didn't have that, but they gave everyone kind of they gave them. I sat down with DeMarcus out in San Francisco before the Super Bowl, like from me to you.
Yep.
And had a conversation with him. And DT was always that guy as well. So great that he'll be honored this weekend.
Yeah, no, it's really cool. It's very, very touching. I've seen some quotes from his folks that are going around, and looking forward to seeing his bust out there outside the stadium, seeing the name and number on the facade of Empower Field at Mile High. It's going to be emotional. I don't think there's going to be a lot of dry eyes in the building when they get this done during halftime. And honestly, it's going to be a celebration all weekend. I know Brandon Marshall, the linebacker, who was obviously a key part of the Super Bowl 50 defense, and we love having him on here on The Fan with Zach and Phil. He's going to be with those guys in person tomorrow at Choppers. And then he's off to events because there's events all weekend, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. I mean, who's not going to be here? I don't know, but the 2 names that come to mind are Brandon McManus and Von Miller, because they're both still in the league, right?
Yeah.
Who do the Commanders have this week? They just played on Monday.
They have the Cowboys.
Okay, so Von's can't be here.
Yeah.
And I did look. The Packers have the Cardinals, and I know McManus was hurt last week, so I was kind of wondering, like,
Make a little trip.
Yeah, do you kind of say, guys, that hammy's still acting up. Don't think I'll be joining you in Glendale. I'll be in Denver. But
who's the dude who didn't make it home on the plane? Or made it home on the plane? was it Aaron? Is it Aaron Brewster? Is that the right name? What?
Yeah, those are one of those stories that you know, but you're not really supposed to tell, Cello.
I was wondering if he'll be there. Probably not.
I don't know. It's a good question. But yeah, I mean, obviously, Emmanuel Sanders, Peyton Manning, DeMarcus Ware, Chris Harris Jr., Aqib Talib. The list goes on and on. Can't wait to see them all. And then the football game is obviously super important for Denver. And kind of the two stories of the day, Cello, from down there at Broncos Park, powered by Common Spirit, were Spill the Beans Day, when Sean Payton doesn't find a hot microphone, but Vance Joseph and Garrett Bowles do. VJ told us that Dre Greenlaw, if he plays, is going to be on a part-time basis. Now, that's not exactly breaking news, but Sean yesterday, I'm not talking about injuries. Well, VJ gave a couple thoughtful answers about Dre Greenlaw today. Said, we're going to feel him. Everyone's going to feel him when he's back out there. Vance also said either this weekend or next weekend, so he's given us a timeline. Greenlaw officially limited a second day in a row, and then Garrett Bowles gets up there at his locker, and he's like, I love Palczewski. Can't wait for him to be next to me at left guard. And I'm sure Sean's shaking his fist like, don't tell our plans at left guard. But those were the two biggest takeaways. VJ, I'm not saying he's anticipating Greenlaw for sure out there, but it sounded like it's trending in that direction. And then Palczewski, who I applaud Matt Pert for playing through what he played through last week, tearing the MCL, but I would have started him at left guard from the jump once Ben Powers got hurt. I'll give you the floor. Greenlaw, Palczewski, bigger impact. What's a bigger storyline heading into Broncos and Giants?
I think the bigger impact, and this is kind of strange to say because I'm not certain that Greenlaw plays. So I think the biggest impact is going to have to be Palcho, right? Because of what we saw last week. And to you, I mean, obviously, learning that news later after the performance that you kind of laid out there in London from Pert is like you commend him for toughing it out and finishing. But now we kind of have some reasoning behind it too. So I think the biggest impact would be that. I don't know that. Are you comfortable if Greenlaw, you think he's ready to go even on a part-time basis, or do you wait one more week?
I think he's ready. Because let's be honest, this injury, it happened in April, and then it happened again in the middle of the summer, and then we've talked about it. They chatted about him playing against the Saints in New Orleans in that final preseason game. He didn't. Then he missed a couple of games. Then he goes on IR. It's his body. I get it. The guy's been through a lot. He's a freak of nature.
So you think
he's a specimen.
Been ready for a while?
I don't know if a while, but I think they sort of put him on IR to just sort of quell everything and calm it down. And seeing him out there today, Andrew Mason had eyes on him, wrote about it at DenverSports.com. I know the Broncos are officially listing him as limited, but I think Dre Greenlaw's chomping at the bit, and I expect him to play against the Giants. Yeah.
The Broncos.
Paid him a lot of money. I want him to get on the field because at some point, you know, bubble wrap to me applies in camp in the preseason.
I'm with you.
It's
there.
October 16th. It's go time.
And you're going to get your answer either way. Either he gets out there and he's able to perform at the level that you expected to when you signed him, or maybe this thing does linger and you can kind of get that answer sooner than later. Obviously, we don't want that to happen. I mean, you're a lot better with the prospects of him being out on the football field to help that defense. So I'm with you. Let's clear it. Let's figure out what's going to be going forward.
Can J.K. Dobbins get going again this weekend? Only 40 yards last week, and I'm not going to put that all on Pert. I think the Jets stacked the box an awful lot. But J.K. Dobbins, to me, looks like a top 5 running back in the NFL, or did look like a top 5 running back in the NFL. The stats would back that up. With Palczewski in there at left guard, can this be the kind of game where it's just feed J.K. 20 times, let him go for 120 yards, and leave the stadium with a victory?
Well, I think we sound like we and I did the show last Tuesday, and I think we said the same thing. When's momentum going to carry over? Because we thought after that, the way they finished in Philadelphia, that offensively you'd come out, and in the first quarter they didn't look terrible, but it was like, I don't understand. Like, listen, Sean Payton he's forgotten more about football than I'll ever know. I'm never going to question like what he was doing. It's just some of the things are like they don't quite make sense. You know, it's like you had Bo throw the ball in the first half, and then the second half you're just kind of like you went away from it, which was crazy.
You went away from the tempo too. Dante and I talked a lot about that last night.
I don't know what it is, but they have not found their groove yet. And hopefully that comes this weekend. We've heard it a ton on this station, right? You're too complex. You need to dumb it down a bit for this offense, because obviously what you're handing them is too much for them when it comes to pre-snap penalties and then missed assignments, blown assignments. So, and then Zach and Phil were even talking about it. He talked about a reduction yesterday.
Yeah, he used that word multiple times.
So for the first time, it's like maybe we will see it. Maybe we'll see like, hey, let's just go back to the things that work for us. And you're going to have to do that because obviously looking at this game at the beginning of the year, you're like, oh, that's an easy dub. The NFL's quirky this year. Like, things don't really quite add up. I mean, every 2 weeks you have a different favorite.
And the Giants are playing with house money, right? Because Dable looks like he's going to save his job. Scattaboo looks like a great running back. I'm not sure how long he'll last. Dude runs like a madman, but he's going to be a player in this league for the next 4, 5, 6 years. And they may have gotten one in Jackson Dart out of Ole Miss. So they don't know any better, right? They don't know that they're supposed to come to Denver and get their tails kicked. They're just going to come to Denver and go, well, we beat the Chargers. We beat the Eagles. Why can't we beat the Broncos? That's why it scares me a little bit. I'm not shaking in my boots. It's still the Giants. But I'm also not going to totally dismiss it as, hey, Broncos are going to win by 15 or 20. I'm not there.
I just can't foresee a weekend in which you're honoring Super Bowl 50. And what was the leader of that team was obviously their defense in the no-fly zone. And I can't see it happening. I can't even really fathom it, to be honest with you.
Well, and if the guys are all getting in town, I hope they're down there at practice. Like, wouldn't you love this current team to get some rah-rah speeches from Aqib Talib and DeMarcus Ware?
Listen, man, I do the Sunday morning show with Kyle Reese. And a lot of times he'll put on highlights of the Broncos, and it always kind of inevitably ends up on the Super Bowl 50 team, the 2015 team, and that defense. And the comparison, we kind of thought at the beginning of the year when Kay Adams was out there talking to Pat Surtain Jr. about it, like, hey, do you think – and he said, yeah, all the makings are there. We still have to go out and do it. How comparable or comparable is this team to that team?
Well, they're on the record or on pace to break the record for most sacks
in a season. But it seems different. The eye test seems different, does it not? Or maybe am I just being nostalgic?
I mean, this defense is clearly the best in the NFL, and
but that
I think they're kind of the talk of the league right now. You're right. That's the one thing that has to come is the turnovers.
Yes. So like
pick sixes, scooping scores, big sacks to set up Bo Nix right in the red zone, that kind of stuff. And I'm talking about sacks with fumbles.
Yeah.
The 6961 on the RamosLaw.com text line 303-713-1043 says, guys, the Giants have won 4 Super Bowls. They beat the Broncos. They beat the Bills.
How do we forget the Norwood wide right?
And then Eli's 2 over the Patriots. Yes, 4 Lombardis. Broncos trying to match them sooner rather than later. Speaking of Dre Greenlaw, we touched on that a little bit. Here's VJ talking about the middle linebacker today.
I think, if he returns this week, it's got to be in a part-time role maybe. We'll see. We're not sure that's going to happen this weekend or next, but he's in good spirits. He's worked hard. He's in the right mindset. So we'll see, how Sunday plays out. But once he gets out there, we'll feel him. Everyone will.
We'll feel him. Everyone will. Part-time if he comes back. So you bring up Super Bowl 50, the reason I'm making this comparison, because you're saying it doesn't pass the eye test quite yet. Who on the Broncos right now, we're talking strictly defense, is better than their position comp from Super Bowl 50?
It's maybe Pat Surtain.
Yeah, but even that, I mean, I get it. Surtain's trending towards being a generational corner, but Aqib and Chris were absolute monsters.
Who would you put better? Who was the better of the two of those for that year?
Felt like Aqib was taking a ball to the house like every other week. But Chris was so consistent and did it for so long. I don't know. We're splitting hairs. They're both great players, right?
Yeah.
But you're right. Other than Surtain, I can't look you in the eye and go, well, so-and-so on the 25 Broncos is better than that guy on the 15 Broncos. Like maybe Zach Allen is trending toward being better than Derek Wolfe or Malik Jackson?
Yeah.
Maybe?
Yeah, I don't know. See, that's where I think sometimes the nostalgia kind of plays in because you only remember the highlights.
Right.
And now it's a decade ago, so it's like the only things you really remember are any things that are highlights. We don't remember like when they were struggling at points in that season and people were talking about them the way kind of seems like the Broncos, like it seems like the Broncos country this past week is really kind of pushed the brakes a bit on what they think this team can realistically do.
But that's because of the offense. I mean, you're coming off a game where they held the Jets to 82 total yards.
I know, and I think that's silly. And at some point or another, maybe that was, they kind of started playing well last year after they got out of the way out of the Jets, and maybe that starts at this week. And who knows? Like, I think it's interesting that you've gotten this far along for Sean Payton to start making adjustments now. Like, doesn't he know that earlier?
I don't think so. Not based on his summer comments about Bo Nix. I think he thought he was just going to roll out of bed and shoot into top 5 in the league, and that hasn't happened.
Have you been disappointed with Bo Nix's play?
Disappointed is a strong word. That reminds you of a kid when you're a kid and your parents say, "I'm not mad, I'm disappointed," right?
Which is almost worse.
Exactly.
Be mad, be pissed.
I don't know if disappointed, underwhelmed would be a better word. Underwhelmed. We chatted a lot this summer about sophomore slump. Is it a myth? Is it real? I'm not saying he's in a full-on sophomore slump, but he's having a little bit of a sophomore slump. I think that's a fair statement to make.
But do you think it's on him?
No, I think it's more on the play calling and on the expectations that Sean set.
I agree with you. And I've been
put
trying
more
to make
blame on Sean.
Yeah, and I've been trying to make that point ever since the comments were made, because you didn't necessarily have to. You weren't provoked to make some comments like that, but when those comments were made, and I've had this discussion with you and others on the station, that expectations were risen.
Yeah, when you have too many lattes and then go talk to national reporters, this is what happens.
And like they even threw that out there to Bo Nix after the comments were made. How do you feel about your coach saying that stuff about you?
And he dodged them pretty well. He said
all
the
right
right
things, but inside he was probably like, dude.
Really, Sean?
Let me work it out.
Yeah. Speaking of that conversation on who's better, a couple on the text line say, what about Hufanga and Greenlaw? And that's kind of where I was going with it as well. Could Hufanga be better than Darian Stewart or TJ Ward? Could Greenlaw be better than Brandon Marshall or Danny Trevathan? Obviously, Greenlaw's got to prove it in orange and blue. And I'm not disparaging Brandon and Danny. They were the best middle linebackers, arguably, in the history of this franchise. He's got a long ways to go. But through 6 games, I've seen flashes from Hufanga that he could be one of the best safeties we've ever had. Now, I think Steve Atwater's always going to hold that crown, but specifically to Super Bowl 50 guys that'll be there this weekend, you could tell me 3 years from now, people will say, yeah, Noah Hufanga is just as good, if not better, than TJ Ward or Darian Stewart.
Yeah, but you're also looking at the short time that they were so dominant here, and those 2 guys had a hand in it as well in that secondary.
Oh, for sure. The no-fly zone was all of them.
And
it was Aqib, Chris, TJ, Darian, and Bradley Roby.
And up until this past weekend, give me the highlights you remember from Hufanga.
Well, he was flying around against the Titans. Didn't he force a fumble? I want to say he forced a Tony Pollard fumble in week 1.
Well, I mean, he saved the game this last weekend in London.
Right, so there's 2 right there in 6 games. I mean, the Titans were driving down to score, and he knocked that football loose. I just think Hufanga, and it's not just the hair, and people are going to tell me, you're just thinking of the hair, you're just thinking of the hair. He does remind me of Troy Polamalu, a guy he's worked with before, just in terms of that flying around the field. And you're right, the third down play.
Flying Hawaiians.
I made this point, the third down play, everyone's going to talk about the 4th down sack. The third down play against the Jets was more important. Because if they get that, if Garrett Wilson holds on to that ball and Hufanga doesn't knock it out, the Broncos may have lost on a walk-off field goal for a 3rd time this season.
Yeah.
Nick Folk was going to kick a ball with 3 seconds left, whether it be from 50, 55, 60. He was going to if they got that first down. And that's where Hufanga has made a game-saving play already. Again, he's got a long ways. All these guys, other than PS2, have a long ways to go. Even Nick Bonito has a long ways to go to match Super Bowl 50 type production. But as long as we're throwing names out there, that's why I threw Hufanga out there.
Isn't it kind of strange, though, that after 10 years later, I mean, 10 years ago this week, I don't remember. When did the Liz Frank happen? Was that after week 4, 5? And Brock Osweiler got inserted in the lineup. And
no, it was later than that because it was that Chiefs game, like week 8 or week 9.
Was it that far along?
Remember, he set the record, and it was super awkward. Everyone had to give the ovation.
They blew the game in Indianapolis.
Yep.
Had an opportunity. They should have probably won that game. Either way, I think it's kind of strange when you're talking about a decade later, and we're having some very similar conversations about the Denver Broncos being led by their defense, offense struggling, mightily at times. Can't seem to get in a groove. We've seen a couple decent quarters here and there. Seems very similar to what we saw a decade ago. Now, I'm not saying that kind of projects to where it ended up at that juncture for that team in 2015. But it's kind of weird that those conversations are being had.
Yeah, the 3162 chimes in and says, guys, you can't compare the 2015 Super Bowl champions who dismissed Ben Roethlisberger, Tom Brady, and Cam Newton. I agree with that. These guys got to go do it in the postseason. This defense has not won a single playoff game together. We're just having a fun little stroll down memory lane with the Super Bowl 50 team getting honored. Could this defense eventually, and it's going to take something special in January and early February, could this defense eventually enter that conversation? I think I'm leaning more towards, yeah, perhaps, and Cello's leaning more towards, ooh, they got a ways to go to impress me.
Well, yeah, and I think a lot of it was like, this can go back to the preseason. We're not the first ones to have had this conversation. I mean, Kay Adams was asking Pat Surtain about it before the season even started. Like, could you be one of the historically great defenses of all time? And on paper, everything, especially after the year that they had last year, I think it's encouraging that you're starting to see them play better, because early in this season, Will, if you go back to like late November and December of last year and you go into the playoffs, and then early in this season, maybe up until that drive against the Bengals where they got the false start, it hadn't looked that great. And over the last couple weeks, it's kind of like they've returned back to more of a dominating fashion. That's why I say it doesn't really pass the eye test. So, yeah, you're probably right. You can't compare it.
The 1895 chimes in and says, come on, really? Best linebackers, Gradishar, Swenson, Jackson. You guys are young. Okay, yeah, I'm not disrespecting Randy Gradishar or Tom Jackson, of course. Swenson, man, that's a way back machine, but sure, I'll take your word for it. He was a great player. But Brandon Marshall and Danny Trevathan have some hardware that I think helps their case. But yes, of course.
Well, I mean, you're also missing like Al Wilson in there, John
Sure.
Mobley.
John has hardware, Al doesn't. Randy's a Hall of Famer. Yes, Randy Gradishar is the best linebacker in Broncos history. Sorry, I misspoke. But I'm just saying Dre Greenlaw's got a long way to go before he's even in the conversation.
Oh, yeah, not even close.
With Gradishar, let alone Brandon Marshall and Danny Trevathan. Do you think, too, with the Giants this weekend and the atmosphere, it's going to be electric? It's going to be kind of sad, too, because Demaryius isn't there. You mentioned Ronnie Hillman as well. He won't be there. But does that scare you in the sense that the Broncos could come out too jacked up? That's always a conversation in these types of football games, that it's going to be so electric that, yes, you want to feast on that energy, but also you can't make it play stupid because of it, or play recklessly, if you will.
I think enough time has passed. You know, like when you went back for when you went back to either high school or college for like a alumni weekend.
Sure.
The first couple years, I think you could probably turn it up a bit.
Well, because you thought you were still in college.
Yes.
Yeah.
But it's been long enough. Like these guys, I think it was interesting. I think you even have it on there about Bo Nix being asked about a guy like Demaryius Thomas, and he has like one memory in his mind. There's a lot of these guys that, dude, they were
in
12 years old at the time.
True.
And I'm sure there was some that were diehard football fans, but I don't think they were holding it. Other than Peyton Manning being a household name at that point, I think it's been long enough. Maybe it's just like you just admire it. I don't think it's one of those things where you get overly jacked up about it.
All right, coming up next, Brian Dable is saying a lot of really nice things about this Broncos defense. We'll dive more into the meat of Denver and New York on the other side.
After a busy offseason, are the Denver Nuggets ready to make another run to the NBA Finals?
Right now, with this roster and an engaged Jamal Murray, I don't think there's a group of 5 basketball players in the world that can beat the Denver Nuggets in a 7-game series. I don't think it exists, if these things go right.
Denver Sports 104.3. The Fan.
Join Denver Sports 104.3 The Fan and Modelo at Mile High Station on Sunday, October 19th from noon to 2:05 p.m. for the Fan Football pregame show. Get your head in the game with orange and blue face painting and Modelo. Modelo, brewed for full-time fans.
Wow, Leslie, your fireplace really sucks.
I beg your pardon?
Well, what I mean is your fireplace is literally sucking all the air out of your house and right up the chimney every time you burn it.
Well, what can I do about it?
Well, you could get a high-efficiency gas insert from Cozy Heat. It keeps all the air you already pay the utility company to heat, and it returns up to 80% of the fire's heat back into your house.
I'd use my fireplace every chance I get if I could do that. Maybe my furnace wouldn't need to run so much.
Well, that's the whole point. Hi, this is Keith Lair with Lair Fireplace and Patio, along with my niece Leslie, to tell you how a gas insert from Cozy Heat will give you the incentive to use your fireplace again. Cozy Heat gas fireplaces and inserts are made to crank out the heat with beauty and style.
Lair's is Denver's oldest, most trusted name in fireplaces. Family owned and operated since 1954.
We'll even give you a free in-home quote, including expert installation by our own certified in-house installers.
Find us on the web at lairfireplacepatio.com.
For top quality Cozy Heat fireplaces and inserts, it's Lair Fireplace and Patio, Denver's fireplace experts.
Whether it's kickoff, halftime, or the final drive, fuel your football season at Dickey's Barbecue Pits. Order the Two Can Dine for $29.99 deal. Two meat plates stacked with pit smoke flavor. Or go for the new Triple Play Combo. A classic sandwich, savory side, and a big yellow cup for just $12.99. No matter who you're rooting for, great barbecue is always a win. Dickey's Barbecue Pit, legit. Texas barbecue.
Cake Mortgage Corp. Equal Housing Lender. NMLS number 1734623. Licensed in Colorado by the Division of Real Estate. Terms and conditions apply. What if you could use the equity in your home to get cash fast? With no appraisal, zero hassle, and less waiting with Cake? You can. The Cake Fast Cash program is like turning your home into your ATM. People are using it to pay off high-interest debt, do renovations, tackle student loans, or cut monthly bills by hundreds, even thousands of dollars. The best part? Your current mortgage rate won't change. With Cake, you also get peace of mind. We're AAA rated by the Better Business Bureau and backed by thousands of 5-star reviews. Cake Mortgage. Your fresh-baked Cake Fast Cash loan is ready to enjoy. So don't wait. Call 1-800-EAT-CAKE. That's 1-800-EAT-CAKE. Again, that's 1-800-EAT-CAKE. Or visit cakehome.com. To learn more now.
Halloween's here. Costumes, candy, and maybe a few scares. But nothing scarier than being ghosted by your insurance company after an accident. At Postman Law, we've delivered over $3 billion to our clients, and we make it simple. Speed, ease, results. With free case evaluations and no fee unless we win, you're never left in the dark. Call 844-POSTMAN or visit postmanlaw.com. Others promise. Postman delivers. This is attorney advertising.
Stokely here from my friends at 5280 Waste Solutions of Denver. Unhappy with your home or business trash and recycling service? Need a temporary dumpster for a project? Call 5280 Waste Solutions at 303-529-2329. Colorado isn't just where they work, it's home. They guarantee swift, on-time pickup for residential and commercial customers. Make the switch and get reliable local service you can count on. Go to 5280waste.com. 5280 Waste Solutions, your hometown brand.
Hi, I'm Terrell Davis, two-time world champion and Pro Football Hall of Famer. There is nothing more important than your health. That's why I made the smart move to invest in fitness equipment with Fitness Gallery. It's a game changer. I have a true treadmill at home. It's the smoothest and quietest I've ever been on.
Football is here, and Fitness Gallery's fall football sale is your playbook for a winning home gym. Save up to 50% off on select premium equipment. Visit any of our 7 stores from Denver to Fort Collins and score big before the sale ends.
Most business owners and decision makers work hard but stay frustrated because customers simply don't know they exist. Marketing isn't about being flashy. It's about making sure people understand how you solve their problem. Audio, video, and online campaigns put your message where your customers are already paying attention. And your friends at DenverSports, they specialize in connecting customers to businesses. The moment you get clear and show up consistently, growth follows. Don't stay the best kept secret in town. Visit DenverSports.com and click on the Advertise with Us button and start growing today.
Catch Telestrator Tuesday weekly on Stokely and Evans with Mark Schlereth, where Stink or Stoke dive into the past weekend's games with a coach's eye, using insights into what went right and wrong on critical plays. Telestrator Tuesdays, powered by Colorado Credit Union. Love where you live, love where you bank.
It's Denver Sports Tonight on Denver Sports Station 104.3 The Fan.
Oh, you guys are the best. The 4146 chimes in and says, not a single mention of Mecklenburg. Okay. Yes, Carl Mecklenburg, of course, deserves to be in the conversation for best Broncos linebackers of all time. We went down a little bit of a weird rabbit hole, Cello, but it's always fun, man, especially because
It's not that strange. I mean, they're honoring that team now.
Exactly, but I was doing the drive last year. We were chatting with Chris Harris Jr. I was filling in for Phil, or maybe filling in for Zach. I can't remember exactly. And Chris said, yeah, and Greg Penner told us he's going to have us all back for the 10-year anniversary. We kind of looked at each other like, oh, breaking a little news to us here, Chris. And yeah, like he does with everything, Greg Penner follows through, and they're all going to be here this weekend. I can't wait. Can't wait to see a bunch of them. I'm sure they'll be giving interviews in a good mood. It's just going to be a big party all weekend, and rightfully so. And the fact it has been 10 years, in some senses, we remember that team like it was yesterday. And I mean, I can vividly remember like signature plays from every single game that season. And in other senses, it does feel like a lifetime ago. And part of that is because how bad the Broncos have been until last season. But where do you check in on that? Is Super Bowl 50 like, yeah, I feel like I just watched that game a few weeks ago? Or is it like, dude, I feel like I was 8 years old when that game happened?
I feel like it was, well, especially when you see the highlights of it or you see the guys, you feel like it wasn't that long ago. But then you also remember of like the long, drawn-out time that the Broncos have had in lack of competition, lack of being in the conversation of relevancy. So, yeah, I mean, like good times like that will take you back and you'll be like, damn, that was that long ago. But you remember that there's been some pretty dang low points since that team hoisted the Lombardi trophy.
I think that helps us remember it so fondly, right? Because we had nothing to cling on to. There was no hope from 2017 on until Sean got here and Bo Nix got here, and this defense rose to what it is. And speaking of this defense, here was Giants head coach Brian Daboll talking about the Broncos defense. You know, I think locally we pump them up, and rightfully so, but we have to remember they're now a national story and on the radar of the whole league.
Impressive. I mean, they're impressive every game. They create a lot of negative plays. They have 30 sacks in 6 games. It was 9 last week, I think. But and they rotate guys. But Benito is an unbelievable pass rusher. You can't have a plan for all of them, and they all can rush. I think 12 guys have at least a sack on their defense. They got the reigning defensive player of the year as a corner, Surtain, Alabama guy. They're just really good. They play good coverage. They complement it with the front. They disguise well. They're as good as it gets right now.
I mean, he's almost at a loss for words at certain points in that answer. I can't imagine it's a lot of fun to scheme against this Broncos defense. And Bo Nix even said it, you know, watching them in London was fun, but I'm studying on the sideline. I don't get to watch them as much as I want, but I do go against them in practice and did during camp, and I know what a nightmare it is. Is this going to be the kind of football game, Cello, that the Broncos win based on the backs of their defense, or would you almost feel better if come next week we're talking about a 31-21 Broncos win? Because, yeah, the defense didn't play out of its mind, but certainly with a number like that, it means the offense is finally starting to click.
I think most people here are starving for some offensive production. And I think that's been the narrative that has surrounded the Broncos over the early parts of this season is the inefficiency of the offense, the inability to kind of get into a groove, especially when you saw how well they played down the stretch last year, and Bo Nix having one of the best rookie seasons for a quarterback in NFL history. Like you talked about the slump, and I don't know that. I think it's still early to say that. I wouldn't start characterizing it that until we get into, double digits of weeks into the NFL season. And if it continues at that point, yes, I think they're close. And maybe this reduction that they're talking about in complexity and what they're trying to feed these guys will be just enough to get them going. I do find it interesting, though, that you had to get to this point of your season, to week 7, to be like, what's wrong here?
Right.
You know what I mean?
You would have thought these preparations began in early August, not in the middle of October.
Why wouldn't you start with a less complex, menu of plays for your offense? He should have known it well before any of us did. right? The way he wants it to look, the way he wants it to operate.
By he, you mean Sean
Payton,
Yeah.
yes. So, like, that's the question I have, and maybe that's it. So, to answer your question, that's a long answer. People want to see the offense get going.
All right, but real quick, you just said something interesting. You said, I think they're close. Do you?
Yeah.
Really? When they're handing the ball to Adam Prentice on 3rd and 10, they're close? I didn't see anything against the Jets after that first quarter to me that suggested close. Like, I don't envision this as like, you ever see those videos of there's a clogged up drain pipe with a bunch of mud and a little water starts seeping through and then all of a sudden it explodes everywhere and it's like, they relieved the pressure, the dam, whatever. I don't feel like the floodgates are about to open for this offense. Not based on what I've seen through 6 weeks.
Well, I feel differently.
No, I'm glad you do, but please defend yourself as to why.
Because I think of all the things that they did in the offseason and then all of the way that the expectations got risen with the comments made by your head coach, I think it's almost like you remember like on Christmas morning when you'd always have that one gift, right, that you really wanted to play with, but maybe you got a handful of them.
Sure. And
it kind of seems like Sean Payton's gotten to that point with this offense. Like he's almost like trying to get too many people involved. Like why aren't you just going for your guy? You know, you said like a couple weeks ago, you asked me the question, is Cortland Sutton becoming too much of a security blanket or Bo Nix's whoopee? No, like they don't even just like when you need a play, go get it to that guy. Every other team in the NFL does that. When you need a play, you have your playmakers, you go to them for them to make the plays. And the Broncos seem like at this point, he's trying to get too many people involved, and it's almost like it's been just a little too cute, like schematically, instead of just like go out and make the plays. Get the balls to our playmakers.
Can Evan Ingram become that guy? Like the 3rd and 4, it's just automatic. You're getting 6 yards with Ingram.
I think that's what we all thought he was going to be. And
but he's trending that way. Like the 4th quarter in Philly, he was pretty good.
Yes.
And then he did have a couple key plays. For as awful as the offense was, he did have a couple key plays against the Jets last weekend, particularly on that drive when they were down 11-10 to go up 13-11.
I think he needs to be that guy.
I do too. He was the joker, right? Start joking. And Sean needs to put him in a position to start joking because there's no one else on the offense. Yes, Cortland's great. And we all know Cortland's going to be the number 1 target. But he's not Justin Jefferson. He's not Jamar Chase. We've had that conversation 1,000 times. But there's not another name I can give you outside of Ingram that has a legitimate chance to be it's 3rd and 4. We just guarantee he's going to get the first. I can't think of one. I'd be hard-pressed if you could as well. That's why I've sort of advocated they need to go make a wide receiver trade. And I think there's going to be very good household name type wide receivers available because it's Sutton and then it's Ingram. And yes, I love J.K. Dobbins, but I think on 3rd and 4, 90% of the time that's a passing down. And that's why I would just put those two in that conversation.
And seems kind of like Franklin's regressed a little bit.
He's got the dropsies again. He had the fumble against the Jets. Yes. Mims has not become an every down player, at least not yet. Trent Sherfield's a special teams guy. Pat Bryant, 3rd round pick, trying to warn everyone he's not going to do a lot.
Teasing us, but who are the names you're looking at?
Yeah, the two biggest on my list are Garrett Wilson and Jalen Waddle. Wilson had a little knee thing against the Broncos. He's going to be back in a week or two. Waddle's on just
A.J. Brown?
Craptastic Dolphins. I don't think the Eagles are trading A.J. Brown. I don't think you trade a top 10 receiver, at least on paper. He's not playing that way, but a top 10 receiver in the NFL on a Super Bowl contender.
No Alvin Kamara?
Well, did you see his quote today?
Well, yeah, but that's one thing. But he wants to stay put? Is that what you mean?
Yeah, but his quote was epic. He said, if they trade me, I'm just going to go drink pina coladas. Direct quote from Alvin Kamara. He's not wearing another jersey.
Why?
Because I think he just wants to be a Saint.
Jeez, man.
Isn't that a pretty good quote, though? Like, you can trade me all you want. I'm going to disappear to Cancun or Cabo or Playa and just go drink pina coladas if you do.
I don't know. You're a little envious watching some of these other teams around the league have the success that they're having offensively. And one of them played on Monday night. Watching the Falcons, you imagine having a running game like that and then the weapons that they have like on the perimeter, and then we get ours where it's like watching paint dry. Like, geez. Yeah. Can we get a drive put together, please?
Brandon has asked a couple of times, as a Broncos fan, is it bad to root for Scatterbo? I think this weekend it's bad, Brandon. I hope Cam Scatterbo has 12 carries for 26 yards. But in general, I think Cam Scatterbo is relatively likable. I mean, I think he's kind of nuts, but I think he's relatively likable.
He's one of those guys that you would have loved to have on your squad.
Though 1498 says, not so original contest idea. Let's get a nickname for this Broncos defense. My entry would be the Mile High Maulers. I like it. Mile High Maulers. All good. But I think open for suggestions. What do you call... Obviously, Super Bowl 50 is the no-fly zone, but that feels a little disrespectful to Von Miller and DeMarcus Ware. Orange Crush is very famous in these parts, but I think if you're going to come up with something that needs to encompass the whole defense, Mile High Maulers, you don't have a real big smile on your face.
I think we can keep taking nominations.
Okay. And then the 40...
Not that it's bad.
Go ahead.
We can keep taking nominations.
Yeah. You're just saying it's in the clubhouse. Yes. The 4652 says that's not mud, based on my analogy of the pipe where the mud comes out.
Yes.
Is it not mud? Is it something a little...
Yeah. Have you ever seen Black Sheep?
No.
Yeah. Well,
it's not mud?
Yeah.
Well, regardless.
There was no chocolate pudding in that refrigerator, dude.
Cello thinks the floodgates are going to open for the Broncos offense.
I didn't say that.
The mud is going to get all cleared out.
Yes.
You think they're close?
They are close.
How many points are they going to score this weekend?
27.
Ooh, okay. I think Broncos country would be happy with that. We will put a bow on this thing next.
Is the Broncos defense on the doorstep of a historic season?
You look at the landscape of the AFC right now, and I would go so far to say, or at least ask the question, if not declare, is the Denver Broncos defense the single best unit of any unit in the AFC?
Denver Sports 104.3. The Fan.
Hey guys, Mark Schlereth here from my friends at Xfinity, and the other day I'm over at a friend's place. He's pumped to watch football, but his setup, total mess. Lagging, buffering, switching between apps, trying to find a game. He claimed to be a big fan, but I feel like I was being fan-fished. See, if you call yourself a football fan, you gotta have Xfinity. It's the ultimate sports destination. I can find the best games and my favorite teams all in one place. And the way I watch, well, it's next level. It's the perfect fan flex. I've got all the action right in my living room, plus Xfinity's best picture and sound with enhanced 4K, so clear it feels like I'm in the stadium. Sometimes I've got 4 games going on at once. Why? Because why not? On top of that, I get real-time notifications, live stats right on my TV. It's the best seat in the house every single time. Next game day, make sure that big fan isn't a big fail. Learn more at Xfinity.com. Xfinity, imagine that. Restrictions apply. Multi-view requires Xfinity 4K cable TV box.
Confidence is knowing you're ready to handle whatever comes your way. That's what it feels like to take on your workday with Cintas. They make sure your AEDs are up to date, your fire extinguishers are tested and inspected, your floor mats are cleaned and delivered, and your workwear looks good, feels good, and is freshly laundered with the Cintas Apparel Plus program. So are you ready to take on today? Visit Cintas.com and get ready for the workday.
Pros don't just show up, they prove how it's done. With precision and without shortcuts. Makita tools are built the same way, with a dedication to lasting quality, trusted performance, and results that reward your effort year after year. When the job calls for the best, call on Makita. Built to be the best. Available at the Home Depot.
This is Jeff for Rocky Mountain Men's Clinic, where we've successfully treated thousands of men for low testosterone and helped them feel like their old selves again. Please take a moment and listen to how we help Greg.
Hi, my name is Greg. I've been a patient of Rocky Mountain Men's Clinic for over 10 years. I noticed that I was really tired. I was lethargic. I didn't sleep really well, and I was overweight. My waist was 4 inches over what it should have been. It was really difficult for me to lose the body shape I didn't like. And of course, my marriage, yes. No man in their 40s wants to have low libido in their marriage. I'm really thankful for this therapy because it just makes me feel the man I want to be, active, at home, everywhere. If you're feeling like I was, call the Rocky Mountain Men's Clinic today and get checked. You have nothing to lose and everything to gain.
Thanks, Greg. It's true. Low T therapy will likely change your life. Your initial appointment is only $99 and includes blood work and a medical consult. Call 720-440-7900 or go to RockyMountainMen'sClinic.com.
How can you free your team from time-consuming office tasks? Amazon Business. Smart business buying tools enable buyers to find and purchase items fast so they can focus on strategy and growth. Free up your teams and focus on your future. Learn more at AmazonBusiness.com.
You've still got it, but your immune system weakens as you age, making it harder to fight flu, pneumococcal pneumonia, RSV, and COVID-19. Ask your doctor or pharmacist which vaccines you need. Sponsored by Pfizer.
Remember when they used to ask, what do you want to be when you grow up? At Bank of America, we ask every day, what would you like the power to do? When you work here, you help build businesses, inspire communities, and forge legacies. And now we've raised our U.S. minimum wage to $25 an hour. So the opportunity to do more also comes with competitive pay. Learn more at bankofamerica.com/25. Bank of America, proud to be an equal opportunity employer.
Dan Jacobs with Jacobs Law and 303 Law 4040. Did you know that I actually have some psychic abilities? Yep, had a new client come in the other day to get signed up, and she said, Dan, they've already made me an offer. And I said, well, let me guess. It was $1,500. And her eyes got real big, and she said, Dan, how'd you know that? And I said, let me take another guess. When you said you weren't sure, they said, okay, we'll offer you the maximum amount allowed of like $3,500. The client couldn't believe what she was hearing. But let me let you know in a little secret. I'm not a psychic. I just know all of the insurance companies' dirty little tricks. They use these tricks to put pressure on you so they can get off the hook cheap. At 303 Law 4040, we're here to make sure that they play fair. We're going to make sure you get feeling better and the insurance companies pay what's right. Call us at any time. You can speak directly with me or my lovely wife, Kimberly. Save that number in your phone. You never know when you're going to need it. It's 303 Law 4040. That's 303 Law 4040.
Stay up to date on the Broncos and the latest news from around the league with our NFL insider James Palmer, exclusively on Denver Sports 104.3 The Fan. Mondays on The Rundown with Richie Carney, Tuesday afternoons on The Drive, and Friday mornings on Stokely and Evans with Mark Schlereth, all season long. Denver Sports 104.3 The Fan, DenverSports.com, and the Denver Sports app. Denver Sports Station 104.3 The Fan presents Denver Sports Tonight.
The 3784 chimes in and says, what about Alec Pierce as a wide receiver target? I like Alec Pierce. I think he's a pretty good player, but I don't think the 5-1 Colts are going to trade you a young wide receiver. So that's kind of why.
When's the deadline? Like first week in November?
November 4th, 2 o'clock our time. And Adam Schefter is reporting he's expecting a flurry of activity. I do like that the NFL has become more like the other sports, baseball, hockey, and basketball.
Normally it's not. I mean, there's nothing. Off-season trades maybe.
Yeah, but I think the GMs and the owners have kind of woken up a little bit of like, oh, if we suck, we should sell off our bad players for draft picks. It just took football longer to catch up to that logic than it did other sports.
Who's the best team in the NFL right now?
Best team as we sit here at this very moment in time.
Listen, I know it changed, and I'm not going to hold you to it.
No,
I'm just saying,
right? I'm contemplating about 3 or 4 different choices.
If you don't think about it, we can go to the Mez, and I think it looks like he has an answer.
He's like jumping out of his chair to tell us something.
It's the Cardinals, man.
What do you got, Dante?
Sorry, I was busy jumping out of my chair to tell you.
Okay.
It's the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
They're really good.
Ooh.
Baker looks like a MVP candidate. Ibuka.
Do they pass the eye test to you, Dante?
Yeah.
Like you think they could win the Super Bowl this year?
Absolutely. Like if the playoffs started next week, yes. I mean, obviously it's about getting hot at the right time, so the answer could change. But yeah, right now they look the best, like the best team in the NFL.
Yeah, and Mike Evans and Chris Godwin have both been hurt, and they're still putting up 30-plus points a week. Tampa was definitely in the conversation, Cello. But just to answer your question, just in the name of fairness, I think the best team in the NFL as we sit here at this very moment is the Kansas City Chiefs. And that scares the living you-know-what out of me. But I just feel like they've started to figure it out. I think Patrick Mahomes is playing the best football he's played in a couple of years. I heard Chris Collinsworth telling a story on the broadcast the other night about, hey, you talk to people in the building, they think this is better than a couple of the teams that went to the Super Bowl. I think the whole ref thing, I'm not a huge blame the ref guys, but when you get 0 penalties, that's a little suspect. Dan Campbell keeps saying that they took the Jared Goff touchdown off the board because New York called in. Said, no, he was in motion. It's like, really? There was no flag on the field? When I was a kid, if there was no flag, the play just stood. But New York's buzzing refs, telling them, take that fun Lions touchdown off the board. I don't know. I think put it this way. There's a reason the odds makers, Super Bowl favorite right now, is the 3-3 Kansas City Chiefs.
I would say it's the team they played.
You think it's the Lions?
Yeah.
I don't know if I buy that defense.
I think this is just right now. But obviously, if we're going to say Tampa in the NFC, are you putting any real stock in the Indianapolis Colts?
No, not his best team in the NFL. I think they're I was famously wrong about them and took them too lightly, but no, they're not the best team in the NFL. Are you?
No, I'm not going to say they're the best, but I think they're top 5.
Okay, but if the Broncos had to go to Indy tomorrow for a divisional round game or an AFC title game, wouldn't you take that?
Oh, yeah. Oh, hell yes.
I'd take that over going to Arrowhead.
In a heartbeat.
I'd take it over going to Buffalo.
Listen, at some point, Daniel Jones is either going to completely figure it out, and we're all going to be wrong, or he's going to revert back to what we know as Daniel Jones. I'm just saying that they lead the league in scoring. Am I wrong?
Yeah, they got to be right up there.
I think it's them and then maybe
like
the
30
Lions.
Points a week every game from those guys.
And they have a little bit of last year's Broncos team, though. If you look into their wins, they're not that impressive.
Bad teams?
Yeah, I mean, they beat the Dolphins and Tua. They beat the Broncos, which shouldn't have been a win. They beat the Titans, Cam Ward, the Raiders, Geno Smith, and then the Cardinals by 1 point with Jacoby Brissett.
And the Colts do have the most points in the NFL, Cello, 194. Yeah. The Lions are second with 191. But I think most of Broncos country would say, hey, if it gets to that point, it's late January, and we got to go to Indy to try to win an AFC title game, sign me up. I'll take my chances all day.
I guess I'm asking the question because it's mid-October, and we don't have like a clear-cut best team.
No, and that's rare for this league, right?
Yeah, I mean, normally there's at least cream of the crop, like a couple of them, right? And right now there's 8 to 10 teams still probably vying and could be in that conversation to be the best team right now.
Well, I've said it before. I'll say it again. You realize the Broncos are a leverage penalty away from being the number 1 seed in the AFC. Because they'd be 5-1, Indy would be 4-2. Now Pittsburgh's playing the Bengals right now to try to get to 5-1, but as of this very moment, they'd be a leverage penalty away. All right, you and I won't chat before kickoff, at least not on the air. Who are you taking this weekend and by what score?
Broncos 27-16.
You're sticking with your 27.
Yep.
16, you got the Giants, 3 field goals and a tutty?
Yeah, you can get there all kinds of ways.
Missed extra point?
Yep.
Something like that. Oh, man. All right, I'm going to do it. I'll take the Broncos 21-10. 21-10.
All right.
And Super Bowl 50 will be in the house. Demaryius Thomas going in the Ring of Fame. It's going to be awesome. Enjoy the game. All kinds of previews tomorrow right here on Denver Sports 104.3 The Fan. For Dante and Cello, I'm Will.
As he works into his sophomore season, is Bo Nix being graded too harshly?
It's not his fault who's on the schedule. That's why everybody wants to move the goal. Oh, you got to win 1-score games. All right, he did. Well, it was against the Jets. How many qualifiers are you going to give? Give the guy a little bit of credit and stop with the damn qualifiers every time he does something you say he couldn't do. That's what drives me crazy.
Yeah.
You move the goalpost every single week.
Denver Sports 104.3 The Fan.
Upgrade your hunting arsenal with premium brands at great prices during the Shields Hunting Sale event happening now through October 19th. Scope out savings on your favorite brands in camo, rifles, ammunition, and so much more. Like $200 off the Sitka Fanatic jacket and up to $500 off the Leupold VX5 HD rifle scope. Join the community of hunters who trust Shields experts to outfit their adventures and get more bang for your buck now through October 19th at Shields.
Your air duct cleaning experts, Ductworks.
Hey guys, Mark Schlereth here. Fall has arrived, which makes now the perfect time to call your air duct cleaning experts, Ductworks, at 303-425-0985. Ductworks' complete ventilation cleaning packages scrapes and vacuums every inch of your system, removing dirt,
dust, and debris other companies leave behind. Here's why that matters. Your heating system kicks on in the fall. Dirty ducts can reduce efficiency, raise your energy bills, push dust into your home's air. A professional cleaning now helps your furnace run better, last longer, and keep your family breathing cleaner air. Don't wait until the first cold snap when everyone else is scrambling. Get ahead of the rush. Call Ductworks today at 303-425-0985 or visit ductworks.com for your free residential and commercial estimate. Your air duct cleaning experts, Ductworks.
303-425-0985.
What's the biggest mistake you can make when selling your home? Settling for less money. That never happens with Orchard. Disappointing offers can wear you down, causing you to settle for thousands less. You don't have to settle when you sell with Orchard. Orchard reinvented the real estate industry by guaranteeing your home sale and helping you sell on the market for top dollar. First, Orchard gives you cash up front so you can buy and move into your new home first, on your timeline. No waiting, no showings, no double moves. Then once you're all settled in, your Orchard agent helps sell your home on market for top dollar. Here's what one Orchard customer said. I never could have sold without Orchard. I made way more than I expected, and it couldn't have been easier. With Orchard, you never have to settle for less. Buy before you sell and get top dollar for your home with Orchard. Curious how much your home is worth? Visit orchard.com to get your free home valuation. That's orchard.com.